Apparently Twitch is going under, at least if these latest announcements are any indicator, because right now, according to this article from Business Insider, streaming platform Twitch to lay off 35% of staff, and this is being reported by Bloomberg initially. So not a good sign. And I know some people are going to say, well, this is Amazon owned. Amazon's a huge company. It's doing fine. Twitch will be fine too. But you got to understand, Twitch is kind of a separate entity from Amazon, even though it is owned by them. But still, they kind of treat it like, imagine you owned several businesses and one business is not doing too well. Yeah, you can use the profits from your profitable businesses to help prop that up and keep it afloat. But I mean, you might just be like, you know what? That's not doing too good. I'm going to try to do what I can to make that profitable. But if it doesn't work out, then maybe I'll consider getting rid of it. And right now, Amazon is kind of in that state because since buying Twitch, it's never really been profitable for them. So they've been looking at ways to make it more profitable. And so far, it's just hasn't been working out for them. And they're just wondering, should we keep trying to prop this up or should we just get rid of it? And it might actually be looking to sell it in the near future, but I'll get more on that in a little bit. The impending layoffs would affect about 500 workers, Bloomberg reported, citing sources familiar with the matter. The publication said the layoffs could be announced as early as Wednesday. If you like what I do here and you want to keep up with the latest in entertainment news, make sure you click that subscribe button. And also, if you can, leave a like because it really helps out the channel. All right, let's continue. The job cuts come after a series of executive departures at the end of 2023. Since November, Twitch's chief customer officer, chief content officer, and chief revenue officer said they were leaving the company. I think that last bit was pretty enlightening because it goes to show that Amazon as a whole was blaming a lot of the problems on the executives who are running the company. Because as you recall, they've actually tried laying off employees in the past to turn the company around, and it really wasn't effective. Back in March, it says Twitch CEO Tom Clancy said the company was laying off about 400 employees. Like many companies, our business has been impacted by the current macroeconomic environment, and user and revenue growth has not kept pace with our expectations, Clancy wrote in a company blog post then. The article goes on to say the slowing economic environment has been a challenge for other tech companies as well. And that is true, but not all tech companies have been having a bad 2023, and even not all tech companies within this particular space, because there's still the rival platform Kick, which was just started up in 2023, and it had a pretty good year. Now, playing devil's advocate here, it had a good year because it was a new company, so they're going to get a flood of people, but they've been also trying to cultivate more people coming there. They were giving out big contracts. Famously, they had that $100 million contract for XQC. Amaranth was signed for reportedly $30 to $40 million. Nick Merckx was signed for a huge deal. And these deals are also non-exclusive, so these people can still stream on other platforms like Twitch. They just are trying to give them an incentive to bring their audience over. I think it's probably like a monetary bonus for the people that you can actually bring over. So these creators have more of an incentive to post exclusive content to Kick to try to bring that audience over with them. And Kick is obviously being very aggressive in their moves and trying to basically make a name for themselves within the streaming space. And so far, it's actually been doing pretty good for them, because you look at these numbers between January and April 23, Kick viewership grew by 404%. Kick had 12.8 million hours of viewed content in January. By April, it jumped to 51.8 million hours. They had 9,000 active channels by the end of January, 67,000 active channels by the end of April. So it is doing really good for them. It's just a matter of whether they can sustain this growth. And I'm going to say they probably can, because when you first start off, you're going to have that huge spike in your growth. But even then, despite all that, it's still not profitable for them. But they're sustaining themselves because the owners of this also operate online casinos, and they're kind of using that revenue in order to try to prop up Kick, and they're trying to use Kick to try to drive people over to their casino. So that's basically how they're trying to make their money with this. And like, unlike Amazon though, it does look like they're willing to eat the loss of their streaming platform in order to try to prop it up and drive people over to their other source. Twitch, on the other hand, it's not really like it's built to drive people to Amazon. Maybe they could actually tweak how the companies run in order to try to do that, but so far it just hasn't been effective if that was the goal of the company. And it's looking like Amazon might not want to have to mess with that, and they might just be looking to off-sell it somewhere down the line, which would be understandable. And Kick is actually, or at least people working for Kick said that they might be interested in doing that in the future. So we got this pulled up right here, and this was talking about this news of the layoffs. Kick co-founder threatens streaming takeover with eventual Twitch buyout. And it's less of a threat and more of just a statement. But here's what he actually had to say. A rival platform Kick, a competitor that only blossomed in 2023, has chimed into the conversation. Co-founder Bajan Tarani has implied it's only a matter of time until they outright purchase Twitch. And this right here is the goal of a lot of these streaming services. And I'm not talking about the ones for video games like Twitch or Kick. I'm talking about like all of them, like your Netflix, your Disney Plus, your HBO Max. All of these, well, maybe not Netflix, but pretty much all of them are operating at a loss. And the only reason they're profitable is because they're being propped up by their parent company. Netflix, I think, is an exception, even though they've had a bit of a downturn. I think they're more of an exception because they were kind of the original creators of this and they're the ones doing the best. So I think they're sustainable, whereas like HBO Max, Disney Plus, those are operating at a loss for their companies. And the reason they got in there is because Netflix was doing so well. So a lot of these other studios are like, well, let's make our own streaming service. And so far it really hasn't worked out for them. And the whole goal of a lot of these companies is basically to try to outlast the competition long enough in order to gobble them up. Because if no one is operating at a profit, then it's just a matter of who can outlast the other ones. And then once you can outlast them and take them over, well, then you can eventually become the one kid on the block and there you have all the business there. I mean, we're just one of the few who are actually able to make a business out of it. And it just kind of goes back to how it was, where it was literally just in the past Netflix and Hulu, or it was just Twitch in the past. So maybe Kick is willing to actually eat their losses until they can actually buy out Twitch. I mean, it's just a matter of whether they're able to do that. They seem to have the will to do that. So we'll just see if it plays out for them. Amazon could just endure the losses and keep Twitch afloat if they really wanted to, because Amazon is definitely a huge company, but they're not personally invested in maintaining Twitch because for them, it was just another revenue stream. They weren't personally invested in it. They don't care if it succeeds or fails. I mean, obviously they want it to succeed because it's more money, but I mean, if they have to just get rid of it, then they are willing to do that. So I can see in the future Kick actually buying out Twitch. It's just a matter of whether Kick is willing to actually or able to actually keep themselves afloat long enough for that to happen.